What's up, guys? Today I'm going to show y'all the correct way to play branded Chimera. Okay, first off, these are just up here for show. I'm going to put these back and I'm going to show you how to get to that board or another option. Now I have preloaded a hand and this would be our ideal hand with this deck, okay? Okay, so this would be our ideal first turn hand, okay? And not too bad of a going second hand. So keep in mind, we want to do our Chimera line last, okay? And you'll see in a minute why. So first thing we're gonna do is special summon Fenrir, activate Fenrir, and we're going to add a Fenrir to hand. You probably see the blue eyes in the deck. You're gonna see why in a minute. There's a reason. Okay. Just a little easy shuffle. Add this to hand. First thing we're gonna do here is now if they would have ashed that, we have a thrust here, but they're probably not gonna ash that. They know that's ash bait. We're going to activate the brand diffusion. Assuming this goes through, here's what we're going to do. We're going to send off where'd you go? Where did you go? We're going to send off Albaz and Blue Eyes. You're like, what? Blue Eyes? This is just one way to do it. This preferably would not be Blue Eyes. It would preferably be the Hex Sealed Fusion, the light Hex Sealed Fusion. But for this circumstance, I couldn't find it. I could not find the Hex Sealed Fusion. I got it somewhere, but I think I lost it. But for this play, we'll just pretend like it is, and I'm going to show y'all a couple different options. So we're going to go into Albion. Activate as effect. Now, you have to be careful here because this is the one that banishes. Okay? Keep that in mind. He's going to banish the fusion material. So keep in mind you're not going to be able to go into either one of these two next cards. So we're going to activate that. For the sake of this, we're just going to, if this is turn one, this is who I'd go into. If this is turn one, I would go into Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. That way you have a negate up. I mean, he's hard to get over, and you force your opponent to focus on this. The other option is you could go into Mirror Jade. But I would probably go into Dragoon over Mirror Jade. Just depends what you want to set up. But here I would go into Dragoon most of the time on turn one. If it's turn two and you need to clear a board, go into this guy. Because at this point, they obviously don't have an interaction, and they're just depending on whatever monsters are on the field to block it. So you go into this guy and just attack over everything they have, and look what else you have on the board. You would normally put this in attack position, and then you have Fenrir. Typically, you have enough for game or very close to it. But for this, we're going to just say that we went into Dragoon. Okay? Went into Dragoon. Now, we're going to go into the Codal line. Activate Codal. Send to Grave. Add a Mirror Swords Knight. I'm going to go ahead and get this out. Add a Mirror Swords Knight. Summon Mirror Swords Knight. Going to activate Mirror Swords Knight. Alright. Big Wing Berfament. Activate Big Wing Berfament to add this and this to hand. Alright. Activate Chimera Fusion. Send these two to summon out This guy, this is a mistake people make. Summon this guy. Get that free rip out of their hand, especially if it's turn 1. If it's turn 2, you may want to go into the other path. You may want to go into, even still, this is a good option, but you may want to go into this guy for a little bit more firepower. You get a little bit more attack points. Key point here, how you chain these is critical. I would go chain 1, chain 2, chain 3. These two aren't so critical. One's going to add to hand, and one's going to special summon. So we're going to target this one. We're going to special summon this one back. He's going to rip from hand. Typically here, I'm going to add the Codal. Going to add the Codal here. Okay, that way we have a play next turn. Or you could add the Mirror Swords Knight, but you'll see in a minute why we're not gonna. Special him back in defense position, just in case. All right. So here's our hand now. We still have 4 cards in hand. 4 cards. And we've literally built this entire board right here. We're going to activate Chimera Fusion since we have this guy on the field. We're going to set this, and we're going to pass turn. Okay, so we have a banish, we have a negate, we have a card rip coming, and we have a whole another play to set up our next hand. And we also have, in a perfect world, we'd have this ash in hand, and hopefully we could ash something they have. This is just a floater card, these two, but this is what we would have in hand, and maybe something else. We can make Guardian Chimera fairly easily, and we can pop 2. We just have so much interaction, and when we activate this, we're going to have 2 negates in the graveyard. This one's going to be just a negate. You banish this from the graveyard, negate an effect if a monster activates an effect. And we have Codal in the graveyard, and this is a negate and destroy. So if our opponent activates a card or effect that targets a card. So, I mean, like I said, it's insane. This is an insane board right here. It's pretty much unbreakable because you have Dragoon. He can't be destroyed by card effects. Neither player can target the card with card effects. It's just crazy. This is just crazy. Let's back up a little bit, and I would show you what a turn 2 play would look like. So turn 2. This would be the board that we would build instead. Typically, we could either go into Mirror Jade if we need the banish. Otherwise, or we could go into Guardian Chimera at some point to pop 2 of their cards if we needed that. But most of the time, we would go into this after we go into this, or you can go straight into it and you're not too worried about interactions. You can go into that, or we could go into this guy. The good part about him, he can attack over all your opponent's monsters. So we would end on something like this instead. So 25, 34, 31, 24. That, and his effect, if they're not in defense position, say they have a link monster there, you can just attack. It's a game. It's a game. That's all there is to it. But anyways, guys, that's how to play Chimera. This particular build is a little bit different. I'll do a deck profile here pretty soon. An updated deck profile. Either way, no matter what version of Chimera branded you're playing, this is pretty much the way to go. See, I was playing this deck incorrectly for a while. I would try to go all in first turn and get the big guy out. That's not the play. That's not the play. The play is to leave the key here. If you don't take away anything else, if you can only do this right here, set the Chimera Fusion, and set this up. If that's all you can do, which I would leave him in attack, 2100 attack, it's just one monster. You'll have 2 negates in the grave in the form of Mirror Swords Knight and Codal most of the time. And let's just say you have a couple cards in hand. Maybe even a Super Poly. That would be a really good board. Maybe an Ash in hand. But turn 1, it doesn't seem like you've done much. But keep in mind, you have a monster negate, and you have a target negate and destroy. And then you have either Guardian Chimera, which is most likely what you have, plus you ripped a card. Most of the time the play here is going to be to go into Guardian Chimera after they've tried to target. If they target a, whatever they use to target, maybe they try to target this, you could just chain this, or you could activate that, the Codal Engrave, destroy whatever it is, and let them put a couple cards. Maybe they set, summon a monster, set one or something, activate this, go into the Guardian Chimera, pop 2, draw 1. It's just pretty crazy. I mean, it's a crazy combo. And then next turn, worst case, you have a big body on the field, and hopefully you have a little bit. And then you have his reaction in the grave, which is you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 beast, fiend, or illusion monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So guess what you're going to do? You're going to bring the Mirror Swords Knight out, and next turn, you are literally going to do all of it again. All of it again. It's just, it's a really powerful deck. I think it's slept on right now in this format. You may say it's weak to nib, and it is, but you've seen a typical first turn, like a good first turn, you are gonna run the risk of getting nibbed. But keep in mind, it's not the only way to play. If you're suspecting nib, then you could just go the Chimera line, or even if the branded, you could go into Dragoon. Quick effect, you can discard 1 card, negate the activation if a card or effect is activated. So there's so many plays. Thanks for watching. I think this is probably the best way to play this deck. Maybe you do something a little bit different if you want to go more along the lines of the branded line. But I just think having this guy with a couple of negates and engrave is just so much better of a play. And then turn 2, you go into the big guy. I mean, this guy alone, if they leave a monster in attack position, I mean, it's game most of the time. Most of the time it's going to be game, because even if they have something face down, you're going to negate it if it targets, and you're going to destroy it. And then you're going to go into this guy, and you're going to hit him for at least 62. But if you use 3 material, he can attack 3 times. So, do what you want with that. That's just these are your big ones right here in this deck. And then of course Dragoon, when you need Dragoon. It's all situational. And then with this variation, I put this guy in there for specific circumstances, just when you really need to break a board, and just really wipe them out. Then you have the Rembrandt play, you have the Mirror Jade play. There's so many options. And then you have the Super Poly targets. I'm missing the Garura, but Rescue Ace. I mean, this deck really does good against Rescue Ace. It does good against... There's nothing that it just gets annihilated by. Unless they're playing like some weird heavy trap deck or something like that. Then it might get a little hard then. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.